Jesus, I'm stepping on bolts and I gotta clean. I gotta straighten. Anyway, so today we're gonna fix a problem that you all know about with my Springer. Well, I'll just show you the problem. That's a problem. When I bought this thing and rode it home, we went all over the place with it, and it was coming home at night from Bruce Rossmeyer's Destination Daytona, where I bought it the first day of the Daytona Rally, riding it back to my campground in, where the hell was I? DeLand-ish, where Cackleberry is. I couldn't see nothing. I mean, like, I was riding down a country road, no light, late at night, going, this is when I die. So, Custom Dynamics was nice enough the next day at the rally at their booth, next day, day after, I don't remember, to put on Pro Beams. You can see on the turn signals, and those flashed yellow. But look at this, like, there's an LED. I mean, like, it's cloudy, which you can clean that stuff up, but by today's standards, you don't even realize, this is a 2008 motorcycle. It's only 14 years old. You don't even realize how bad headlights were not that long ago. So what I have today is a very cool headlight for them to put in it, and the little tweaky bits that I need for the isolator to solve a known Springer problem. So first, a bit about the bike. If you don't know, there's a story there. You might go, why is there already a picture of your bike if you saw the wall, on the wall there? That right there is Josephine. Josephine I bought brand new in 2007, owned it for 7 years, 8 years, and it was the bike that I owned when I met Mrs. Monkey. So it was the bike we rode together. Yes, she rode in that little ass Crossbones P-pad for a while, but that was the bike we put a lot of miles on together. It's the bike I moved to Florida with, 11 years ago. And then in a stroke of brilliance, I traded it for a Street Glide, and loved the Street Glide, but regretted ever since ever letting go of that bike. So I went without it for, I got rid of it in 2015, 14, something like that, and then have been looking for one ever since. So 8 years later, walked into Bruce Rossmeyer's during Destination Daytona, and this is not the original Josephine, but this is a pewter denim 2008 Softail Crossbones. It's the same bike I have. So I bought it, and since we've gotten it, it came with big radius pipes and stuff on it already. But since I bought it, we already put the S&S teardrop air cleaner as God intended on it, but here she be. Bike's got 14,000 miles on it, love it to death. It's been a lot of fun. And if you see my last few videos, we've been working on my 21 Ultra, doing the color change, which there's still to be done because I still have the outer fairing coming from the paint shop and the lowers, but so there's still work to be done. But so we're in sort of a holding pattern, if you will. Forgive the mess, Jesus. A holding pattern, if you will, waiting for those parts to come back before we can finish it. So in the meantime, let's fix that damn headlight. During Daytona, Mary 2, my buddy who's I don't know if you'd call him an installer, but he's like a freaking engineer, because when I had problems with the lighting on the Cholo bike, he was telling me the milliamps that I needed to pull. Woo! Like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, bud. So he sent me the little resistors. Mary 2 and Mary 1 from Custom Dynamics sent me all that stuff to help me out, to get outlined out. So he's telling me about, immediately looks at it and goes, well, I can't do the headlight today. And I'm like, why? He goes, because the Springer has a problem with the rubber isolator inside. It's too big to accommodate a large LED heatsink. All of Custom Dynamics lights are made to last all of our lives. So, is that a B2? Loudest subdivision in America. So you have to put a different isolator in to fit the headlight. It's a whole thing. So what they actually make, because they don't only make the stuff, but they make all the little things you're going to need to make it work right. And I've lost it. It's gone forever. So hang on a minute. Let me find that sumbitch. Here 'tis. So they even make the little kit that you'd need on a Springer. This might be the same problem in a Deuce, if you got one of those, because I actually owned a Deuce years ago, and there was an issue with the headlight vibrating, and they make different rubber isolators and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, this guy right here is the kit you need to make a large heatsink LED headlight fit in a Springer. So they think of everything. So they sent me that, but here's the big deal. What they sent me for a headlight. I've never owned one of these before. I've only seen them at rallies, but they've always looked really interesting to me, really cool, and they'll help see You know, not just an LED headlight, but, and, sorry, I need a dramatic reveal, Rick. An adaptive headlight. So if you look at that and go, why does it have so many eyes? Why does it look like a Cylon from Battlestar Galactica? Thanks for helping me figure out what that was the other day. I was trying to remember. This headlight has, I guess it's got a tilt sensor inside it, kind of like your turn signals on a Harley, but as this is rolling down the road, as your bike leans, the lights illuminate down this side, and they're bright LEDs. So like modern expensive frickin' German cars, when you turn the steering wheel to the left, like the fog lamp will light up so that you can see around a turn as you're making it. One of those things that you have a car, drive one once, and you go, that's pretty cool. Like, why? All cars could benefit from that. This does that for your bike. So you're rolling down the road, you lean into a turn, these lights kind of whoop up the side, and so you can kind of see around the turn as you're going. Just, you know, if you're running a single 5 3/4 headlight, every bit of light you can get helps, and this will do that. So I believe it just hooks up like a regular headlight. We'll find out together here in a minute. I think the tilt sensor is just in the light, and it does that. But we'll find out. 5,000K. Good Lord, I'm going to see into the future. All right, so let's take this headlight out, and I'll show you the issue bolts and stuff, and then we'll get this done. All right, so Mary 2 warned me this was going to be fiddly. Not highly scientific, though, just something we got to do. So I've already taken the headlight out. You just loosen the screw at the bottom of the ring and pop it off, and then unplug the headlight. I can't help you more than that. And then here's your headlight bucket, which I read in the directions just for sanity's sake. You should really, I'll take this off the bike, but that's just an Allen bolt there and a, you know, acorn nut on the other side. Chance to use some steel wool to clean that up. Look there. Anyway, so basically these isolators are too big, too tall of sorts to fit a substantial headlight. So this kit includes 3 new ones. You know, so I'm basically going to take the headlight off the bike so that it's loose so I can get to the acorn nuts in the back. Take these nuts off, and then I believe we're just putting new ones on the bolts and gluing them on. Mary 2 was telling me that I'm going to hate life trying to get these off. Or you said depending. A lot of them, you said they dry rot. They just spin and you can't get them off, and it's a big pain in the ass. But rear. Sorry, YouTube. Gestapo. So maybe I shouldn't have said that word. Who knows anymore? So I got to take these off, and then we'll, you know, change these out. So that's basically all we're doing. But then we'll get a proper headlight in there and show you how the adaptive works. And we've got a Gremlin bell, thank God. We've been riding around without one, which is dangerous. So I got one of those to put on too. Mary 2 was right. This little bastard. Why? I mean, okay, so how these isolator bolts work is how do I even describe this? This is the inside the bucket side. It goes through the bucket, headlight bucket, and that's all just rubber. I ripped that off. That's all just rubber. So it's sort of like a male-to-male bolt with a bunch of rubber in between, but there is no bolt that goes all the way through, just rubber in the middle. So you're gonna rip that one piece off, and then when you get on the acorn nut in the backside, it's just gonna spin. So you gotta get some small vice grips onto the, like, what do you call that? I mean, the edge of the other side, and then get your socket on the other side of the headlight bucket. So let me show you with one still on. I've only gotten 1 out of 3 out, but I'll show you what I mean by this. This one I haven't ripped off yet, but it's just rubber, you know, there. I'm gonna rip this side off and get vice grips onto the little lip there, and then you use your socket to get it off the other side. That's the solution I can find. I tried regular pliers, and that you can't get enough grip on it. So these tiny vice grips have saved my ass so far. And keep at it. So I know they don't do this kind of stuff that often, and springers are rare these days, but that's your secret. Some tiny vice grips to get on that sucker. If you can just barely get on the lip of whatever the hell side of that weird-ass double-sided rubber middle bolt thing, then that's how you'll get it off. But if you do this out there, that's the solution. You need some tiny vice grips, get on that lip, and then crank it off. You'll also find there's about a half gallon of red Loctite, which is good. You know, that's yay Harley. So why is it we love this company and hate it at the same time? Isn't that hilarious? Like, a guy asked me the other day, like, a guy from Brazil sent me a picture of a tank, and it said FTF on the tank. He's like, what does that mean? I'm like, it means F the factory. It's a very, very old saying. FTF was real common forever. But yeah, FTF means F the factory. Anyway, so, yep. So we got all three of them out. Now I just got to use the new, they come with new bolts and everything. So a new bolt is going to come in. You just put a rubber, it looks like a piece of fuel line, to be honest, over the bolt. And then she goes back together pretty easily. So that's the hard part over. Hurt my finger, because I do. So next bit. So all this, what it was about was just reworking the bracket. And I think what it is actually, I think I said earlier that I thought the rubber was too thick. I think it's a combination of that, and then I believe the nut on the inside of the bucket may have been too tall. So what you end up doing is using these new Allen button head bolts, the original Star washer, and then this piece of gasket. I think it's air hose actually, but piece of gasket, and then you put some thread lock there, pop her back in the bucket, and you're good to go. So that's what you're trying to do, is get more clearance, you know, for the inside there. So that's done. I love that they figured this out, because, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of companies are like, well, here's a headlight, figure it out. And they were like, no, there's a problem, we gotta fix the problem. No. So they even have this little kit. I'll put the part number for this kit in the description, because the description of the part, it just says adapter F/ST 575HL. So I'll put the part number in case you need it. But whew, that was more of a pain in the rear than you'd think it would be. So let's put this back together, then we'll get to the cool part of actually putting the new headlight in. A lot of work for something stupid, but there she is. As you can see, I beat the hell out of the bucket. Not really. I just sort of stretched it on accident a bit, just working on these bolts. I'm going to have to get that back together, but it'll be fine. Bolt back in, buckets remounted, new higher clearance, you know, install there, all that sort of good stuff. So we're ready to put the new headlight in and be done with this. So in a minute, I should be going, we'll see. I can tell you in advance that there are going to be a lot of people who need a safe space tonight. They're going to need the whole weighted blanket, the whole thing, because I can hear the comments already. You have destroyed the classic look of a Springer, rah, 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 you know. And not that that's not a thing. I mean, yeah, I mean, you take a classic bike that's sought after, fairly rare, rather special to a lot of people like myself who had one before or who have loved Springers since they were little, and you put a modern, kind of crazy looking headlight in it. But you have to understand, none of this is a permanent modification. I could still put the regular headlight back in it. The new mods that I did with the new bolts and stuff inside actually are better because it's not that rubber middle piece. So that's an upgrade to the hardware holding the headlight on. But I can still put a regular old school yellow halogen headlight back in there if I wanted to. Nothing is permanent. No wiring was changed. I just want you to breathe before I show you what it looks like, because I actually think it looks really freaking cool, because the bike is blacked out. This headlight is black. Not blacked out, but lots of black on it. The headlight's black, and I think it looks really cool next to the chrome Springer front end. So here we go. You can't see it that well, can you? Or maybe it's just a little screen on the camera. It's got a bunch of eyeballs. So you got a center, one of these high beam, this. These are the ones that come on when you're turning. And it does this cool little light show when you turn it on, which is pretty wild, which I know the missus is gonna love. She loves this bike. This will be her Softail, let's be honest. I mean, that's my bar hopper. This is now her bar hopper. So this will be her bike. She's gonna love it because she likes flashy. You can take the girl out of Miami. You cannot take the Miami out of the girl. That's just reality. So there she is. Now let's see. I don't know if it's blinding or not, but I'll try and show you the little dance it does. So that's actually what, and it's not a tilt sensor. It's a general motion sensor that lights these up. So if I show you, she's just sitting there right now, you know, not upset about facing this way. But if I just move the bars, see? It's not flickering in real life, by the way, that's camera stuff. If I just move the bars, those light up. All right? And now that side's lit. And if I just grab the handle and start turning it back, you can see those are on. I mean, it's all automatic. There's no wiring, there's nothing bizarre you got to do, and then they go off. You should click on the high beam. Bottom light's the high beam, obviously. So that's just sort of your, you know, regular running light. High beam. Again, there's no flicker in real life. I can see it in the screen, but you know, in real life you're not seeing it. And then as you turn the bars, you know, those lights come on. It just kind of feels when it's moving and adjusts accordingly. But I think it's really cool. I mean, just these two alone right here are 1,000 times brighter than a regular headlight. Let me see if I can get it on the wall or something, if you can see. I mean, it's daytime here, and I mean, you can still see, you know, and I aimed it fairly well. I'm gonna have to mess with it more when it's dark, but I think she's aimed just about exactly where she was. That's important, guys. If you do a headlight, make sure you aim it afterwards. If you're just screwing around with it, then you'll be up like this or in people's face and you won't be able to see a damn thing. So there you go. The lighting is now done on this guy. There's still a reflector on the forks. I just noticed that when I bought the bike, there was a reflector on one side of the forks because evidently the previous owner was a lunatic, but not on the other. So I got to take this one off. And someone said, there's a reflector on that bike. I forgot. It's still on there. Next, we're going to put on, just real quick in this video, we're going to put on the Guardian Bell. If you don't know what a Guardian Bell is, it's a little bell you hang on your motorcycle. Let me know, people from outside the States, is this an everywhere thing or just US? It's been around as long as I can remember. But Guardian Bell, the story goes, it hangs low on your bike, as low as possible. So like underneath the floorboard mounts as possible. And supposedly the gremlins that are all over your motorcycle, that are attracted to the sound of a motorcycle, that cause it to break, cause accidents, cause bad mojo in general. Supposedly they hate the sound of the bell. And so they're attracted to the sound of the bell. They get to the bell and they fall off the motorcycle. So it's, yes, it's a wives' tale, but it's just a tradition, and I love tradition. So we're gonna put a Guardian Bell on this bike. We had a problem because it has to be a gift. You cannot buy yourself a Guardian Bell. It has got to be a gift from a friend, a relative, one of your brothers you ride with, whatever. You need to give each other Guardian Bells. You cannot buy your own. Good source. This came from the dealer. Harley makes them. But there's a smaller shop named Figurati that I know some of the other channels have done stuff with. They do like pivot bolt mounts and stuff. He makes nice Guardian Bells too, so if you want to go to their website or send someone to their website to buy you one, because again, you can't buy your own. We had a problem with this bike because I bought it, but I kind of bought it with the intention of the missus riding it. So I couldn't buy the bell and give it to her because I bought the bike. And she couldn't buy the bell and give it to me because she's going to ride it a lot. So we had a quandary. What are we going to do? And immediately, Mrs. Monkey's sister is like, I'll do it. So she ran to the Harley dealership, and my niece and her picked out this cool little sort of Willie G style bell. This is a Harley Davidson product. It's got the bar and shield in the back. Whoop, you can't see bar and shield in the back. But what do they pay for these? Are like 40 bucks to the dealer or something like that. But don't just tie this on. So it's got a little leather string, comes in a pouch, a little leather string. Don't just tie this on or zip tie it. Do a proper mount. I'll show you real quick. Otherwise you won't lose it. I mean, otherwise you will lose it. They're super cheap. I can't remember if I paid 20 bucks for 4 of these, or I don't remember. But it's basically this little ring guy, and you take a bolt out of your bike, say like a floorboard mount bolt like I'm going to, and run it back through, and the other side, the small hole, is you put a key ring through it and the key ring on the bell, and that way you're not just leaving it up to a zip tie or a piece of leather string. So you pick a bolt, knock that on, and then we'll be done for this video. So this is what I was talking about. This bracket uses any hole in the lower part of the bike, and you can angle it however you want, tighten her down, and it's a good sort of substantial mount. I'll put a link to this in the description also. But there we go. I'm gonna get down on the floor, do some garage yoga, and put this on. What I'm gonna use is the mounting hole for crash bar, because this doesn't have one. There's one hanging down the lowest point of the bike, so that'll be done. I'm gonna throw that on real quick, but we're done for today. So any questions about what I did today, put it down below. Disagreements, insults, fat jokes, whatever you want to do, put it down below, and I'll respond in kind. So take care of each other out there. We'll talk real soon. Bye.